Okay, welcome back to the YouTube channel of Proteins of Vidz, and this is the Ankle Breaker Podcast, episode 72. So I hope everyone's well this evening, and yeah, it should be a great show ahead. Finals occurred this week, and obviously it's been a big week with week one done and dusted. Now into week two, and a lot of things to get through tonight. But as always, I'm grateful to have all that Champa on the channel yet again for another podcast. And just in time, he made it just in time. When the intro was about to be done, just then, he made it just on the split, last second. So Dragons fan guy just made it. So good to see. But yeah, boys, how you been? And good week of footy, wasn't it, last week? I'll start with you first, Dragons fan guy. How are you, bro?
Very good. Sorry I was late. Just had to do something a sec. Sorry, boys.
That's all right.
No, I'm all good. Just looking forward to talk. Yeah, I thought it was a good week. I can't comment on the Newcastle Knights game as I was unable to watch it, so I'm unable to comment on that game, boys. Just so you know. But right. I watched all the other games.
Yeah, no, all good. Good to have you on the podcast again. You know, you've been a consistent guest this year, so I do appreciate it. And Champa, for you, bro, how you been?
Yeah, no, I've been all good. Thanks for having me as a co-host again, Dragons fan guy. Thanks for being our guest, and thank you to the audience for tuning in tonight on episode 72 of the Ankle Breaker Podcast. And yeah, week one of the finals is done and dusted, and honestly, it was a pretty fucking entertaining round. I'm not gonna lie. From the start of the game from the first game to the final game of the round, it was pretty entertaining. And we're gonna get straight into it. A lot has happened throughout this final series, stuff on the field and even stuff off the field. And we're definitely gonna get straight into that. But yeah, guys, make sure to sound off in the live chat. If you've got any questions, ask us, and also subscribe, like, share, do all that good shit. Come on, guys, and yeah. And let's get this podcast on the way. CLPA.
CLPA. Had to give a shout out there. But yeah, exactly. It should be a good show tonight. And we're about to get it underway any second. But going to go for the live chat as always to see who's turned up for tonight. So Mr. Number One himself, Jason Reader, mate, as always in the live chat. Very consistent viewer of this channel. Good to see ya. And he says, up the Roosters. Yeah, well, Roosters, a good win over the Sharks. A very gutsy win, but it's a win that keeps them alive so far. But more injuries have come and crept into their team. So how long can they persist with that? Not too sure. But anyway, it was a good win on Saturday night for your boys, Jason. And Josh Rabbitohs 2023, hello. And Flash Red, SS Storm fan. And Flash Red says 2024 top 8 Champa. He reckons Tigers for the 8 in 2024. Wow.
Look, honestly, a mannequin dream, but who knows? The Marshall era is going to save the Tigers. You heard that straight from here.
Well, you said yourself. I mean, I think he could be a good coach, but we'll see what happens. We'll see. It'll take time. Good to see a good chat so far and a good audience. Definitely more people will come in as the show goes on. But we'll get into the first bit of the podcast of tonight and go on so forward after. But the very first thing, we're going to go through our thoughts on the week it was. The thoughts on how week one of finals went. It's good to see, finals now come at this time of the year as everyone loves it. But yeah, obviously 4 games as always, as it's always been for the first week of finals. But what's our thoughts on the first week of finals? Obviously a lot of things happened. I mean, some floggings happened, some close games happened. It was a bit of a mixed bag, I suppose, and that. But honestly, I'll give my thoughts in a minute. But there's a lot of things I take out of this week actually. Champa, what do you think about the first week of the finals, and how do you reckon it went down?
Like I said earlier, this was a pretty fucking entertaining round of finals footy, and a great way to start off the finals. With Brisbane Storm, Brisbane just showing clear dominance from attack to defense. Storm had no idea what hit them. It's unfortunate that Pappenhausen got injured, so I wish him a speedy recovery, both physically and mentally. But other than that, the Storm, again, the Broncos, again, just too good for the Melbourne Storm. Then we go to the next game of the finals. We go Panthers Warriors. Again, clear dominance from Penrith. You cannot get any better than the Panthers, especially at home. Warriors simply just didn't know what hit them. Their two main halves were out. And just from the start, you can just tell that the Panthers had full control. And the Warriors were playing the Panthers game. And that's one thing you can't do, is play into Penrith's game. Then we went to the elimination finals. We started off with the Sharks and the Roosters. The Sharks getting surprised by the Roosters. And the miracle run of the Roosters. What's this now? It's 5 straight? 6 straight?
Five.
For the Roosters?
Yeah,
five straight. It's incredible to see how much this season's turned around and taken off one of the top contenders. Sharks were a real top contender this year. And they knocked them off. Knocked them off at home in front of 13,000. Anyway, other than that, great to see the Roosters win. On to the next finals up against the Storm. And we're talking about winning streaks. We went from 5 straight. Now we're talking about 10 straight. The Newcastle Knights.
Unbelievable.
Again, keep surprising everyone. And this could be the best finals game that anyone's ever seen. Dragons fan guy, you haven't watched the game, but I guarantee you got to watch some highlights, because this game was absolutely
I saw the highlights.
electric. Yeah, this game was absolutely electric. It went down to the wire. And honestly, yeah, just an amazing performance from all teams. The Knights and the Roosters go on to the next round. Raiders and the Sharks unfortunately get eliminated. And yeah, I'm so keen to see the 2 games this week. Storm, Roosters, and Warriors Knights.
Oh yeah, it'd be exciting for sure. Like seeing Knights and how well they're going, can they really push the Warriors in New Zealand? It's the next step for them if they, keep this magical run going. But yeah, no, I'm keen for week 2 as well. Should be fantastic. And Dragons fan guy, like you said before, you didn't see much of the Raiders and Knights game, just the highlights, as you said. But just with all the other games of week 1 of finals, bro, what did you make of it? It was pretty entertaining.
I thought it was really good, and I really enjoyed it, and I love to see the Roosters win, and I claimed myself a nice $50 from the round, so very happy with that. I thought it was a good round. Is that my echo?
Yeah, I think so.
Give me a...
Yeah, all good, bro. All good.
I think that should be... Oh, for fuck's sake.
Just keep talking. It's all right. Go on.
Yeah, I thought it was a good round. I love the Broncos Storm game. It was unexpected to see the Storm go down to 0 in a final. Would have made it such a great night if we saw Reynolds run a bit faster, but really loved the round.
No, for sure. No, absolutely. I think seeing teams like Broncos and the Warriors and Knights I know Warriors lost, but it's good to see those mix of teams in the finals this year, because it's been a while since we've seen these sides have success and go into semi-finals to the prelims. It's great to see. I guess my quick thoughts around and how I thought week 1 went was, most of it went to plan when we saw Panthers beat the Warriors 13+ without Sean Johnson. I think you all expected that as soon as he went down, sadly. But we were robbed of a Cleary versus Sean Johnson showdown. I would have loved to see that. And I was there live, so I was there with all the Warriors fans, and they were devastated. Yeah, they were devastated. But credit to them, they all flew from New Zealand. Like the most of the fans that were there, they all flew from New Zealand to watch the game. So you can't question the determination and passion of the Warriors fans there. And then obviously, the first game, Broncos and Storm. Well, droughts break. They all break eventually, and that was the Broncos' first win against the Storm at Suncorp Stadium since 2009. So unbelievable. That's like, how long ago is that now? Like 14 years or something?
Exactly.
It was 14,
yeah,
13 years.
So it's crazy, yeah. And that was really good to see. So the Broncos in the prelim now. I mean, that's their first prelim, since 2015, probably, I think. Or 17, one of those years. And then, yes, obviously Storm were just shell-shocked, I think. And I don't think Bellamy will accept another performance like that. So I'm expecting them to really come up against the Roosters big time at Melbourne. And then the 2 games, elimination finals, Sharks and the Roosters and Raiders and Knights. Well, look, I didn't get to see much of the Sharks and Roosters, if I'm being honest. I saw the second half, not the first half, because I was getting back from Penrith. But no, the Roosters showed some guts. They showed a lot of guts, actually. They've been decimated with injuries and stuff, but they still find a way to push on and still compete, every week now, it seems like. And Sharks were disappointing. They really bottled this one because weren't they leading the whole game too, up until that point where they got the field goal, the Roosters. So yeah, it really it's really disappointing at home too. So that's the Sharks done. The Roosters, well, we'll see how far they can go, I guess. But the main game, the best game of the weekend, I'd say, Raiders and the Knights. Holy shit, what a ending. And what a game, though. Like, what a game, too. Like, seeing the Knights and the Raiders battle it out in a game like this, you never would think that Knights and Raiders would ever go against a game as good as this, but it happened, and it was great to see. And, Canberra, will give, they'll give him no shot at all, But I said on Tuesday that they would turn up and they would give the Knights a run for their money. Like, I literally said that they would turn up and actually give it a go, and that did happen. So, and I tipped Knights by 2, and they'd win the game by a penalty goal. And I called it. Somehow I called it. I can't believe it. I can't believe I got that correct. I did not think that would ever be a possibility, but there you go, the mastermind. I got it correct. But clearly that was the best game of the round, right? That was the best game.
Yeah, look, I think we need to give full credit to the Raiders here because, look, I said that they were a disgrace of even being in this top 8. Yeah. And, of course, they were the first ones out, but they showed some real heart in this game, especially with the injuries that they've had. So I'm going to give full credit to the Raiders. They turned up, even against one of the most informed teams in the comp right now in the Knights. I mean, the Knights are a top 4 team that's not in the top 4, in my opinion. And they turned up against them. So full credit to the Raiders and full credit to Ricky Stewart and his boys. Keen to see what they do next year.
Yeah, 100%. If they can play every week like this, then I definitely think that they could be something competitive and special. But no Wyden, that makes things very interesting actually for next year. Dragons fan guy, would you agree that Knights and Raiders was the best game of week 1?
From what I could see of the highlights, yes.
Yeah, fair call. I'm sure we all agree. And Flash Red, thank you for letting me know. The last time Broncos were in the prelim was against the Storm in 2017. I do remember that game too. That was at Suncorp, I think. Yeah, I think so. I can't remember. I don't know. But either way, that was the Broncos' last prelim. At least I know that now.
Before we get to the next topic, really, I just want to give a quick happy retirement to David Fifita, who's retired in the Super League.
Oh, yeah.
So, for those who don't know, Andrew Fifita's brother, he used to play in the NRL long time ago for the Sharks, and he spent most of his time in the Super League. And he's announced his retirement. He's put his boots in the middle of the field, and he's had a great career in the Super League. So, best wishes to David Fifita.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that actually, because I do. Remember David Fifita, the brother of Andrew, very vaguely at the Tigers for a little bit and at the Sharks too. And he was all right. It's been a while since I've seen him play live now, but he was a good player actually back in the day. I guess to add to that though, Champa, I will say happy retirement to Wade Graham and Jared Croker, because obviously the Sharks and the Raiders both eliminated now. Those two men played their, not played. I mean, Wade Graham did, but Croker didn't. But that's their final time in the NRL, really. So they're both retired now, and they can enjoy a trip to Fiji or Bali now for the rest of the season. So, happy retirement to Croker and Graham, I guess. Dragons fan guy, anything to add to that?
I didn't really remember David Fifita in the NRL, but definitely in the Super League, he was one of the good players to watch. But Croker, I think we'll definitely see him as part of the Raiders system somewhere.
Definitely.
And I was disappointed for him he didn't get to play in that game. I would have played him in that game. I think, what's that guy they had on the wing? Shellings, isn't it?
James Schiller.
I would have put Croker rather than him, personally. Just to get him out there, being possibly his last game, I would have played him. But also Wade Graham, one of the nicest players and one of the most consistent players over a long period of time. And I wish them both well in their retirement as well.
I will add is, if it's true that Benjamin Marshall's trying to get Wade Graham in a coaching role at the Tigers, I'm all in for it. mate, come to the West Tigers. We need you.
No,
Yeah,
come to us.
No, stop it.
Oh. But wasn't that a rumor a long time ago that Wade Graham was going to the Tigers after he retired? That was a rumor a long time ago, wasn't it? I think so. Yeah.
You can see if it comes through or not.
Yeah, well, that's right. I mean, oh well, yeah. I guess they've all had great careers, so all the best to them, I guess. But yeah, on to our player of the week for finals week 1. So who was the player that stood out to us the most during this week? I'll be back in a second. But Dragons fan guy, who was your week 1 finals player of the week? And then Champa, say yours after.
I'd have to probably Champa. You go first, mate. I'll have to pick one out of the 5 in my head. You go first, mate.
Well, if I'm going to pick one, I'm going to go to Brisbane Storm, and I'm going to go to the Brisbane halfback, Adam Reynolds. His kicking game was so deadly, and poor Nick Mooney, when he bombed that first ball from Adam Reynolds, you could just tell what kind of pace Brisbane were playing, and it was all because of that man, Adam Reynolds. When he directs the game, when he directs the pace of the game, and how he gets his players around him to stand up with him. It's unlike anyone else in the era. You can tell that that's years and years of experience behind Renault. And of course, his key game is, again, stellar, best to none. And he's such an influential player to these Brisbane players, especially to a Brisbane team that's very young across the whole field. Not a lot of players had a lot of finals experience, and not a lot of players are really over the age of 26, 27. Adam Reynolds comes in as that veteran player. He's won comps, he's won origins, and it's just great to see him lead Brisbane to their first preliminary finals in I'd say since a long time. I can't really remember off the top of my head, but that's my player of the round, Adam Reynolds.
I would have to agree with you, mate. I would have to agree. He's experienced. The kicking game was on point. Even though we got criticism before the game, he didn't seem to listen to that at all, and he was on fire all the whole game. I just really disappointed he didn't get the try at the end. The old legs are a little bit too slow, but I thought he was probably the best player of the round, definitely. But I would put Reece Walsh up there as well.
Yeah, he was good too, actually. And Reynolds is definitely a clear pick to anyone for this week. But because you both said Adam Reynolds, I'll go a bit different. And I will go with my player of the round being Callum Ponga. So I'll go with KP. I think he was big in the reason why Knights won yesterday, I think. And, you know, ever since he's gotten over his concussions for now, I mean, he's still getting those like little ones, but ever since he's sort of come back from the game and from that long layoff, he's really just rejuvenated the Knights. He's a bit like 2021 Turbo when he came back from his injury. He's a bit like that. The same influence. It's crazy. Like, he's getting Dominic Young and Greg Marzu both involved. The outside backs are playing really well outside of him. It's just like his influence is crazy. You know, and I think with that penalty goal, that obviously is still the game, but just the way he played for most of the games, setting up tries, and I think he even scored one himself after Young made a line break and he was back inside. So he did it all, Ponga. He did it all. And, yeah, I really think he deserves credit for the way the Knights played and how he's been so far since the comeback. Like, since the comeback, he's been a whole different player, and he's shown his promise and how good he can really be. So I'll go with Callum Ponga, but I can't argue with people that pick Adam Reynolds. So that's for sure. That's for sure. All right, we will get into our five topics now for the show. The main talking points of the week it was. So the very first one, what I guess, you know, we'll touch into finals as the first topic again, but what was our best and worst game of week 1 of finals? Like, what would you say was the best game, best quality game, or what was the worst game out of you saw? Champa, I'll go with you first.
Oh, I've got to get it. The best game obviously was the Knights Raiders. How close and intense that game was, from start to finish, and Knights getting up at the end. Yeah, look, it was one of the best finals games we've seen in a while. And in terms of the worst game, all the games weren't really that bad, in my opinion. But in terms of just not that quality, I would have to go Penrith Warriors, mainly for the fact that it was just a Penrith bloodbath, honestly. And the Warriors just had no chance, no answer to Penrith's attack, all trying to figure out a way for their defense. So, yeah, those are my games. Best game, obviously, was Knights Raiders. Not really the best game was Penrith Warriors.
Interesting. Dragons fan guy, what would your best game be of week one and your worst game, bro?
Best game, in my opinion, would be the Sharks and Roosters game.
Yeah, all right.
And the worst game, I would agree with Champa, was Warriors game. But in your opinion, boys, do you think the Warriors could have won if Sean Johnson was there, though?
Honestly,
I'm gonna say yes.
I want to say no. I want to say no. I don't think he would have made a small difference. Their attack would have been more structured, but Penrith were just too perfect on that day. And look, you can throw in Johnson back in that side. You can throw in Metcalf back in that side. I don't think it would have made a difference because, Penrith is still the benchmark of the NRL. And they were missing players as well. They had no Tago. They were missing someone in the forwards. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they were still missing a lot of players. And they still come off with a very, very convincing win. Oh, and they were missing Luai as well. Their main man, Luai. So, even with Johnson, Metcalf, maybe would have made a difference, but I still would have said Penrith. Easy.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, they did. I guess also they did lose mostly Leota in the first half with some sort of injury. I don't know if he came back, Leota. So that's another big blow there. Look, I was at the game, and I will say, unfortunately, it was the worst game because it was so one-sided, and Warriors were, they should have been a lot better. I know they had Dylan Walker at 5'8" and T. Murray Martin at halfback, and I know them two are not really used to those positions. Walker is used to 5'8", but he doesn't play that often, but Murray Martin's never been a halfback before, and he said that. But, look, I think the Panthers, like you said, Champa, were too good. They were too perfect in attack and defense, and the Warriors struggled to really throw anything at them. So that's why I'd say that's the worst game too. The best game though, it's pretty obvious. Knights and Raiders. I think that's what footy's built on. That's what footy's built on. You watch games and you expect games to go down to the wire like that and be as tough and as close as that. So it's no brainer for me that Knights and Raiders gets my game of week one of finals for sure. All right. On to topic number 2. So this is where it gets controversial now. So after that whole incident, I couldn't miss it. I could not miss it after that whole incident. I knew when it happened straight away. I was like, this is going to be a topic for the podcast tomorrow night. So we're definitely going to touch into this and give our thoughts in it. So, look, Jack White, he allegedly bit Tyson Gamble during the game yesterday with Knights and Raiders, and there was definitely a bite mark on Tyson Gamble, but Jack White claims that he was suffocating and choking him. Gamble was, and that's why there was a bite mark there because his forearm was right at his mouth, and he couldn't really move his mouth anywhere other than just being on his forearm. But can I really believe it though? Can anyone really believe it though? Because I don't know. I don't know about Jack White, but if I was in that position, I think anyone would have human instincts to bite, especially because you choke out and you suffocate. I think you'd definitely bite back, even though it's not the right thing to do. You have no other choice really. So I don't know. I don't really believe White and his excuses there. But Champa, when you saw the whole incident, what did you make of it, and what would the suspension be for you?
Honestly, when I saw the whole situation, I actually laughed. I laughed my fucking ass off because we've seen everything in NRL. We've seen fucking speed tackles. We've seen head-high tackles. We've seen knees to the head. We've seen squirrel grips. We've seen everything. We've seen finger pokes, and now we've seen biting. We truly have seen it all in the NRL, haven't we?
Oh, the finger in the bum as well.
Why don't even get me started on that. We've seen it all in the NRL, and biting now slides its way in. Just suffocating. Shut up, bro. Just shut up. You bit him. Admit it. You bit him. All right. And in terms of suspension, in terms of how long you should be suspended, oh, I mean, look, a bite. Oh, look, if a hair pull can get you suspended, I reckon a bite definitely should as well. So I reckon maybe 4 weeks. I understand. I mean, I guess it was intentional. I don't think it was accidental. I think it was intentional. I mean, anyone would want to bite Tyson Gamble. Let's be honest. The guy's a fucking rough.
Especially. Yeah.
So, I reckon 4 weeks is fair, but I would admit that was pretty funny though. That was fucking funny.
Yeah, it's hard not to laugh at that, I guess. But look, Wyden definitely is making excuses here. There's no doubt about that. Ridiculous. Dragons fan guide. What would your maximum suspension be for Jack Wyden, and what do you make of the whole situation?
I actually haven't seen the video, so
Really?
I actually only heard about it this morning. So
Wow.
I don't really know what to say. We just maybe ask him, how does he like his meat cooked? Raw, mid-rare. How does he like his Gamble cooked? But probably 4 weeks, I would assume. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
I'll take it I'll take it well done, though. I'll take it well done.
Yeah. I would have thought you would have seen it by now because it's everywhere, actually, the whole biting thing. But yeah, look, it's. I'll say this, it's probably worth 4 weeks, like a month out of the game, because it's not something you should do, and it's obviously a pretty silly thing to do, to bite a player especially. But what that also means is that there's no Vegas for Jack Wyden. There's no Vegas for Wyden because he's going to Souths next year, and
no Vegas for Wyden.
No Vegas for Wyden. So he'll be sitting at the airport saying goodbye to his teammates probably. So, yeah. Oh, well, that's his fault, I guess. But, yeah, look, for me, 4 weeks sounds fair. But I could even push it to 5 just because I feel like that's, 5 weeks is, normally enough for players to learn, you'd think. But, yeah, even a month out of the game's fair enough too, because I think biting is just a very silly act to do, and I think that's the worthy suspension I'd give. But either way, he'll miss games, and I think it's fair enough. All right, we go from controversy to even bigger controversy, and well, something occurred on Sunday morning, and obviously when the off-season hits, it's very hard not to see a player with a white bag and some substance in it, even though it could be a joke, even though it actually could be something. But we've seen another player come under the microscope with this whole thing, and it's happened many times. And unfortunately, it's Val Holmes and the Cowboys. That's been the next player to be subjected to a white bag controversy. So, wow. Look, even if it could be a joke, even if he was drunk and wasn't thinking at the time and stuff like that, it's still very stupid to post that on your story, but especially everyone could see it. Like, everyone could see that story too. And yeah, many people probably screenshotted it and sent it to places. And yeah, it's happened already. Champa, when you saw this, bro, what was your thoughts in if it's a joke, if it's a joke, is it still worthy of a suspension or punishment, or what would you do in this whole situation?
All right, look, to anyone who's saying that this isn't what they think it is, I respect your innocence. What else is a bag that big, that fucking small used for? Because you don't store your cereal or whatever. You don't store your shopping in a bag this small. No. Now, all right, look, could it be a joke? Maybe. All right. Look, NRL players are human. NRL players aren't perfect. NRL players, unfortunately, sorry kids, NRL players like to do drugs. That's unfortunately that's the truth. They're human and they want to do stuff. That's how it is. However, I will say this to Valentine Holmes: you're an NRL player, okay? I get it. You want to crack jokes and stuff, but don't post it on social media because stuff like this occurs and it makes you look bad. It makes your club look bad. It makes everyone who was involved in that look bad. Or for what? Or for shits and gigs, just so you can go viral. If you're gonna post a photo of that, post it within your mates. Post it in the group chat with your mates that know that you trust won't share it around. Don't post it on your story. And even if it was fake, now the whole integrity unit and NRL judiciary has to do a whole investigation within the club. Fucking seeing if drug testing all these players now, making and fucking doing a whole investigation. And keep in mind that doing stuff like this is still illegal. You can be fined, you can be jailed for this. We've seen it happen in the past. NRL don't take lightly with this. Players like Reece Walsh all have got suspensions. Some of the players even got fucking years suspensions. And even if it was a joke, you put your club in a bad position now. Or for what? Or for a laugh? It's not worth it, mate. Okay? And if you are doing it, keep it to yourself. Your fans don't want to see that because it ruins your image. Just imagine some of the fans who look up to you, who want to be like you, who want to play for the Cowboys, who want to play for Australia, who want to play for the Maroons, and they see you with a bag in your hand, obviously with drugs in it. They're going to be confused. They're like, oh, so the one way I can get into the NRL is by doing drugs? If you're doing it, keep it to yourself, honestly, because it ruins your image. It makes your club look bad, and it's not funny to begin with. Come on, it's not funny.
No.
Just keep it within your mates, or just don't even do it at all. Or how about even a smart idea? Don't do drugs. That's the best advice I can give you. Don't do drugs. It ain't worth it, and it's especially not worth putting a joke up that wasn't even funny to begin with. It's stupid. It makes your club look bad. It makes you look bad, and you deserve every suspension that's coming towards you. And come on, you're like one of the best role models in the game. You need to do better.
Oh, Champa, well said, bro. No, seriously, well said. I think that's the perfect message you can give to anyone that's, playing junior comps in the NRL and stuff like that. And they are, I guess, a fan of the Cowboys or Val Holmes as a player. And yeah, then like younger viewers saying that, yeah, it really is a concern because they'll start thinking that's a good thing to do. That's something funny and fun to get into. And it's really bad. That's just terrible. That's the start of it, It doesn't help anyone. Dragons fan guy, what's your whole thoughts on it?
I mean, I'm really pissed off with it. I look at it. If it was a joke, why do you think that's funny to do as a joke? It's a serious thing, and if it's real or even if it's fake, how do we know? And if it's real, he could look at actual jail time. We don't know how much of it he had. Who else had it? We don't know who he brought it from. Puts the club in a bad position and his family as well, because I know he has little kids as well. And to little kids that look up to him, it's not a good look. And if I was the NRL in the club, I'd rip up his contract immediately. I'd rip it up. If you think that drugs, even if you're not doing it, it's fun as a joke, it's not a joke. It's a serious thing. It causes a lot of harm to people every day. People are hospitalised with it. People die from drugs. It's not a laughing matter. It's a serious thing. And if I was the integrity unit, I'd rip up his contract, effective immediately.
Yeah, wow. I didn't expect the rant from you like that, Dragons fan guy, but no, fair enough, bro. Seriously, that's well said sort of piece as well, I think there. Yeah, well, look, obviously, like you said, that puts the club in a bad place now. And as Champa also said, they're going to investigate the whole Cowboys club and drug test every player, I'd say, in the squad, and then see where it's all led up to, I guess. And like, even if it's fake, it really does just add a bad image, as everyone has just said there. So, now look, Val's, he's a player that, has always been in the good books too. So I'm really shocked about this, that he's the one that's in this controversy. Like, he's always been normally a good role model and player, for this sort of like off-field incidents and stuff. He's never been part of it really, but now that he is, it's just silly. It's just generally silly, I think. And I really hope he learns from this. Like, whatever the NRL does, I hope he learns from it. But yeah, he could have really just not posted at all. But even if he was like drunk, I still think he would have known not to just Well, I don't know. I don't know. It's really bad though. Either way, drugs and players never mix well. So, you know.
Honestly, yeah, it's
Yeah.
fucked. Honestly, and he's a parent. He's got kids.
Yeah, exactly.
And do you know the serious consequences that can come if you're posting drugs online while you're a parent? You could lose your kids.
Mm,
And he
exactly.
obviously he wasn't thinking about this at the time.
No.
Again, stupid situation, all for a joke. Come on, man. It's not funny. Drugs aren't funny.
Not at all.
Be better than that, Holmes. Seriously. All right? You need to wake the fuck up.
Nah, for sure. No, seriously, definitely.
Yeah, it's an absolute disgrace, and that he thinks it's funny. It's not. It's absolutely not funny. And I hope the NRL take it seriously, and all the police take it seriously, because we can't let another one of these incidents happen without much consequences. It needs to be dealt with seriously.
No, absolutely. I think the next step the NRL takes has to be a tough one too. So, and I think now a bit more cases like this that you'd think you'd think the NRL would get on top of it and really start making a statement and all this sort of drug stuff with the players. So yeah, we'll see what they do. But either way, it's just shit to see, really bad. Anyway, we'll move on and we'll go on to topic number 4 and. Well, the doggies keep buying players. They keep looking at players. They keep looking at the market. They keep looking for new players every year, more than 10 new players per season. It feels like that club. And now there seems to be after a few players that I'm shocked about, to be honest, that they're going for. So they're going after players like Drew Hutchinson, Kurt Mann, Jake Turpin, and Alex Seyfarth now. But the first 3 I just named there. They're all players that they've already signed in those positions. They've already signed James Salmon and Blake Taff. They've signed enough utilities. Like, I don't know. I don't understand why you'd need Hutchinson, Mann, and Turpin. Where are they all going to play? Obviously, I'll give my thoughts after it. But, like, Dragons fan guy, I'll start with you first this time.
I mean, I've said it in the past. It's ridiculous how many signings they make. Every the last 3 or 4 years, how many signings they've made, and then they're just useless. I mean, they've signed Taff. Now they've got Jamin Salmond as well. There's 2 other utilities, and then if they sign Kurt Mann and Hutchison, I don't know which one of them I'd rather pick in my 17 each week, because I couldn't see them picking all 4 of those players each week. It's just a weird roster, and it feels like a lucky draw. Just they put their hand in, pick like 5 or 6 players each week that they're going to be linked to. I mean, I don't know tomorrow if I turn on my news thing if they're going to be linked to another player. It's getting a bit ridiculous. And how they're keeping so much money, it's also a bit suspicious how much money they have. And it's also Connor Watson as well was apparently going there. I've heard Farmer Silly possibly going there. Yeah. I mean, next they'll be recruiting you. They'll be recruiting you boys. It's just ridiculous. I mean, it's not like they can have 30 players on the field each week. It's 17, and I think they need to start working on a bit better of their juniors, because they've got some real good juniors they let go, and they just bring in these rubbish players. I mean, we've let them see this year releasing Pele early. I mean, pretty much useless for them. Reese Hoffman that's there hasn't even played. I mean, I'm just sick of the Bulldogs, to be honest. I'm just sick of them.
Yeah. Well,
too many private meetings.
Yeah. No, look, it's a weird tactic. It's a weird tactic. I don't know what the
you can't buy a premiership with players.
No.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, a few clubs have done that, I guess, but what the Bulldogs are doing, they're going over the top, I feel like, here. Champa, what's your whole take on it?
I don't understand what message you're sending to your junior players, to your SG ball players, to your Jersey Flake players, when your head of football, Gus, said that the Bulldogs' success is going to be built within the club. When you're signing all of these players and you're rumored to sign many more, what message do you send to your juniors? Because you were the one that said that your success was going to be built within the club. It turns out that your success is going to be brought from different clubs. So Gus, the pathological liar, as he is, comes again with another lie. Just like the lie he said, where he wasn't interested in signing Tino, which he obviously was. Yeah. And now the lie he said that his success is going to be built within the club, which is not. We can all see it. They're not even trying to hide it. He's a liar. He's a pathological liar, and the Bulldogs are liars. The players are liars. They're all liars. And to get to the players real quick, like you said, Pro Enzo, these are players that they've already signed positions to. Like, I don't understand. Like, Kurt Mann is a utility player that can play in the back row as well in the center. We already have heaps of players that can already cover that sort of position. Drew Hutchison, that's another half they just signed. Is he going to slide in with somewhere in between Burton and Sexton? Is that going to be his position? And Jake Turpin, well, I didn't think Reed Martin needed to come off. I thought he was an 80-minute player. Where does Turpin fit in all this? And Alex Seyfarth, hey, you can get your hands off Alex Seyfarth. He's saying that the Tigers. What the fuck are you doing? He ain't going anywhere. But again, like you said, what is with all these signings coming from the Bulldogs? I guess you really can't doubt Gus and his third-party agreements, because they're obviously coming into play right here. If they can manage to sign all these players who would most likely be over 150 in terms of their contract. So,
right, yeah.
But again, I want to go back to the juniors, because we've seen the Bulldogs produce some pretty good juniors throughout this year, who have shown promise into being top players in the NRL. What message do you send to them when you're signing all these players? They're not going to get a shot now, not even in reserve grade, because I reckon most of these players will cover up their reserve grade team. So, what message do you send to those players? Again, Gus, like I said, the pathological liar he is, comes up again with another lie. A typical Bulldogs fashion.
Well, yeah, it's not a good message, is it? Not a very good message at all. I mean, another player that is sort of similar to Salmon, Taff, and Mann and Hutchinson too, like very similar, is Khalid Rajid. What's going to happen to him? Like, and Bailey Beyond Yodo and Bailey Hayward, all these young halves they've got plenty of young halves and fullbacks utilities there, and they're all juniors too.
Oapu as well.
Who's that?
Carlo Oapu as well. I don't know where he fits into it.
Yeah, I love Oapu too. And hang on a second. Didn't Gus say that Carlo Oapu would move to lock full time and transition there? But they want to sign Kurt Mann and play lock. It's another lie by Gus as well.
It's It's just a bizarre thing. And then they also, what's the other one they got coming from Catalans?
Takiaho.
Takiaho, I don't know where he fits into that as well. He's a good signing, but I don't know where he fits in. And then, I mean, the second row for me is locked in with Preston and Kikau. I just don't know. And I mean, for me, Salmon's an odd signing personally. There's quite a few players I'd pick over Salmon.
Me too. Yeah, look, I don't know what the tactic is here. They seem to have gone from signing all these big mobile forwards and these big outside backs, now signing honest hard workers and players that do the job, like Liam Knight, Alex Seyfarth, and these sort of guys are honest hard workers that do a job. And Hutchinson too. Like they seem to be signing just players that plug a hole and do a good job. But I don't know. Their recruitment strategy is weird. And I don't think it's going to help them in the long run either. So.
I think Gus should go now. Get rid of Gus as the recruitment guy. As the recruitment guy, and bring in a head of recruitment. Because I don't know if they've got a head of recruitment. I think Gus is taking all charge of that.
Yeah, Well, he's the general manager, so he does do a lot for the club. But I feel like his power is overcoming the Bulldogs a bit. Like he has too much control. I feel like, you know, especially when you're on Twitter every day, you know, saying things about the club and what's happening and revealing news about what's happening every time there. Yeah, it's just like I think he's getting a bit too out there. You know what I mean? A bit too out there and showing his power a bit too much at the club. So, but anyway, I don't think these signings help the Bulldogs, right? None of them do.
No.
So, you know, we'll see which ones do get confirmed, which ones are said to be fake, but most of these have pretty good sources to them, though. So, yeah.
I've got a question. Can I ask you a question, boys?
Yeah, sure.
Next year, if these signings are true, who would you have as the Bulldogs halfback? Because they've got about 8 or 9 options now. If these are true, who would you pick?
That's a good question. Champa, who would you go with?
Well, you definitely got to have Matt Burton in the 5'8" position. I think he sort of secures that position, as well as the halves position. Well, then again, there's options there. Sexton is obviously their main game man at the moment, but obviously with the rumored signing of Hutchison, he's started to break out as a player as of recently. And of course, you can look into the juniors, like I can't name it off the top of my head, but I'll look a lot of the young juniors. So as for the halves position, still sort of up in the air about that, but definitely if you lock them in with Matt Burton, I'm sure they'll do a stellar job.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, look, for me, I've always been sold on Oluwapu at halfback. I've always thought he's a long-term player. Like I've always rated him very highly, but of course, the Bulldogs had to ruin his potential in the halves and move him to the forwards full time, which I don't like at all. So yeah, I guess now it's between Sexton and Hutchison, and I guess I'd feel bad for Sexton if he's not picked there as their halfback for next year because of him being there as a messiah first of all and being thrown into the team as that Mr. Fix-It sort of guy to now not be playing first grade at all next year if Hutchison does start halfback, but I don't know. I think Sexton and Hutchison are okay players, but none of them can guide a team to a premiership. No way.
No.
Yeah, but Burns obviously there. But as for Hutchison and Sexton, go flip a coin, I think, for that one.
Yeah, it's going to be an odd lineup next year because you got to also add Whiten in there as well somewhere. It's just all over the place. Bro,
for sure. It's very strange, 100%. All right, on to the fifth and final topic for the show now. Just a warning, this could be where I have a rant because of what I think about this whole thing and what this presenter has said about Jerome Luai. But, look, obviously, yet again, Jerome Luai is getting himself in a bit of controversy and a little bit of media attention, which is no shock anymore, obviously. But, look, obviously what's happened is when the Panthers beat the Warriors, I mean, the day before the game started, there was a little trend going around that the Panthers would now call themselves up the Pars, I think it is, up the Pars instead of up the Wars. And anyway, on TikTok, there's a whole song about up the Pars now and stuff like that, and basically taking the piss out of the Wars whole thing there. And because the Panthers won, even the Panthers, the club actually put that song over the team song and had that as their team celebration during the video where they won the game and sort of celebrated, in the sheds. And Jerome Luai posted on his story up the Pars with the Panthers emoji of the full-time score. So, but here's my issue though. This presenter, I don't know where she's from, but I saw AM presenter. So I assume that's some sort of company. But this Nikki Styrus seems to be someone that works in the media somewhere. But she called Jerome Luai, basically said that he has a lack of humility and, and basically said that he's a loser as well for doing all this. Seriously, I'm gonna rant soon. But Champa, what's your thoughts on this one? The whole
my god,
saying he lacks humility. What?
So we're punishing players for having banter. Is that what we're doing now? We're ridiculing and we're diminishing players for having banter, just having a bit of fun. What is so harmful of putting up on your Instagram story the photo of your team winning and saying up the Pars. How is that lack
Nothing.
of humility? Tell me how. Seriously. He's happy his team won. He's happy his team is again in the preliminary finals. And yeah, he wants to take the piss out of the Warriors. I guarantee no one in that Warriors team really took it to heart. They probably would have did the same thing to the Panthers if they would have won.
Yeah.
But then this AM presenter, Nikki Styris, Nikki Debrolopoulos, whatever her name is. Listen, Nikki, the Nickster. Listen to me right now, honestly, okay? I don't know why your life has to be so boring where you have to go over players who have more success than you and try and diminish what they've built, all right? If your life is really that boring where you're going to put down someone for just having fun, then I pity you. I really do pity you because your life must be boring as hell. But seriously, I don't know if you're a Warriors fan. You probably are a Warriors fan. That's why you took it to heart. Or even if you're not, here's my message to you. Do you not have fun? Who cares? Seriously, who cares? I don't even know why this is being brought to the media. Why this is being brought to the news. Why this is a topic. Who cares? Seriously. And Jerome Luai can say this because he has the credentials to back it up. He can talk his shit. He can say whatever he wants because he can back it up. This is why the NRL has a problem with trash talk and banter. We ridicule players for banter. And it's not fair. It's not fair because we do it. Us as fans do it. So why can't the players do it? The players aren't Boy Scouts. They can say whatever they want. And if they want to throw some shade at the Warriors, let them do that. Hell, the Warriors make the grand final, they can get their revenge on them. Other than that, keep your opinion to yourself. I know everyone's entitled to their opinion, but obviously your life is depressing. That's why you gotta take the Mickey out of someone or just ridicule someone for having fun. So Nikki Styris, the AM presenter, how about you present yourself out of here and start walking back to your little radio studio and go back to your boring radio go back to your boring radio line that no one listens to. Okay? So skedaddle your ass on out of here.
Yeah, clearly she doesn't have the same class and the same sort of the same recognition that Jerome Luai gets every week. I mean, I've never heard of her in my life, so I'm surprised she even bothered to say something, you know. Dragons fan guy. With this whole Jerome Luai thing, what do you think? Like, what do you make of the whole situation?
Well, if they're going to do that, up the Dragons, up the Drags. I mean, I think everybody's done it at some point, have a bit of banter about another team or a player. You know, when I play the Sharks and we beat the Sharks, I sing their theme song with the Dragons' name in it. It's just a bit of fun, you know. It happens in all different sports and in day-to-day life with mates. You have banter. There's no need to make fun of people for it. Just shut up about it, to be honest. Go back to New Zealand. Talk about some grass, presenting about some grass or something. Be nice. Be very interesting. Go watch the 10-hour paint drying video. Report about it. You know, that would be much more entertaining. But nah, it's just a bit silly, to be honest. That's in the media. All the stories we get in the media and that comes into it. Find that funny that it even made its way to the media. But yeah, just a bit of fun, really. Yeah. I think everybody's done it, though. I mean, Luai is not the first player to make fun of another team, and it won't be the last time it happens, and hasn't been the first. So,
yeah, exactly right. All right, well, to end the show on a high note, I'll give my honest thoughts on this one. So I'll, say what I really think about the whole situation, but it's gonna be honest though. It's gonna be honest, and I'll just go right from the bat here. Nikki Styris, whatever your name is. Like I said, I've never heard of you in my life. I don't know what the radio station or the company AM is. Sounds like 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. to be honest. I've never heard of it. Like, what is it? Seriously, what is it?
What does
but
AM stand for?
I don't know. Doesn't mean, am not motivated. What else could it mean? Seriously. But see, with Jerome Luai, even though he's a character and people take his character the wrong way or a good way as a banter and as a joke, it seems like a lot of people like it, but a lot of people don't. And some people just seem to, get all offended and all upset by it. But seriously, though, that's just part of being your personality. Like, anyone can be like that. It makes the game entertaining. When Jerome Luai is saying up the pars on his story and taking a shot up the wires, it's funny. It's good banter, and the Warriors even didn't even care like at that point. I mean, themselves posted on the Instagram of their fans that were at the game saying Western Sydney. Instead of Western Sydney, they wrote Western Sydney as a little bit of a joke back. It's just what it is, really. But for this Nikki is saying that Jerome Luai lacks humility and called him a loser. Nikki, just zip it, honey, and please piss off and don't say that word, please, because
you are the loser. You're the loser.
Like, she's not relevant enough to even make a speech and talk like this. So I never heard of you in my life. You're probably just someone that is there to get your name out in the media, even though nobody knows you. No cunt knows you. So just further on and furthermore, don't say anything. And it's a shame you have no personality. That's what it is.
I'm gonna add on this, Pro Enzo, because I don't want this to die down. Nikki, if this video does reach to you, and I will, find out, I will find your socials, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. I would make sure the video reaches to you. If you think we lack humility, why don't you come onto our channel and we can have a debate on the whole Jerome Luai situation and other situations you would like to talk about. Because obviously we haven't heard what else is on your mind, because obviously no one listens to you because you're not relevant. So how about if you have the guts, reply back to me or to Pro Enzo, where our socials are in the description below. You'll find us on Instagram.
Or me as well.
Oh, even Dragons Fan Guy, if you want to.
Yep.
Mate, our socials are in the description below. If this video does find you, message back on us. Our DMs are always open. Message back to us. Tell us you want to jump on your channel, and we can have a full-on debate on whatever topic you want. Because obviously you lack a bit of fun and a bit of enjoyment in your life because your life is so boring and you're calling other people losers. So come on the channel, Nikki, and let's see if you got the guts.
Yeah, well, Nikki seems to talk a big game about players like Luai who have a big personality and are well known. And because he's already had some sort of, unfortunately, the media has already put his name in a bad spot because of his joking and his fun banter, which is just so stupid. But yeah, Nikki to talk a big game like that when no one even knows her. Honestly, it's best that she shuts up and hopefully wraps herself in. Well, okay, I'm not going to go anywhere further other than that, but just it's best for her to not say anything. And I think that unless you're actually known by players in the NRL and you actually are someone that's talked regularly in the radio every week and is like your name's there pretty much on a regular basis, don't talk because people are going to see you as someone that is just there for clout. So shut up, Nikki. And as Champa said, come on our channel if you really want to, or on this podcast, if you want to have a real debate about something, because I feel like that's the way to go.
Exactly.
So
until then, Nikki. Until then.
But that wraps up episode 72 of the Anchor Breaker podcast. Thank you all for watching. I don't think it was the biggest crowd tonight. It wasn't the biggest crowd, but it happens. But we are closing out the podcast so very soon. After the weekend of the grand final, that's when the last show will be. But until then, we've got some big episodes coming up, and it will be a good way to end 2023, I reckon. So thank you to those that watched tonight's show, and thank you to both All That Champa and Dragons Fan Guy for coming on. Really do appreciate it.
Boys, when we end this, I just got an announcement to tell you. So when we end the show.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you everybody for having me. Subscribe to Pro Enzo Vidz in the link just below, and All Out Champa, and also Mr. Sexy himself, the Dragons Fan Guy. It's down there below as well. I'm not saying you're not sexy, boys. It just I got number one spot. You can find all of that stuff below. Like and comment on the video, and subscribe to both of them as well. Peace out, everybody.
Yeah, thank you for that. And Champa, as always, good to have you on the podcast.
All right, thanks for having me on, Dragons. Fan Guy, thanks for being on. And thanks to everyone that watched. Even you, Nikki, thanks for watching.
Well, hopefully, if she was watching Champa and Dragons Fan Guy, I really do hope to hear something in a little radio presenting little column tomorrow. I really hope so. Boys, thank you very much for the show tonight. It was a good one. Plenty of laughs and stuff. So yeah, until next time. But thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and subscribe to both YouTube channels as well. Linked down below. But thank you very much.
Bye, Nikki. Everyone wave to Nikki. Bye, Nikki.
There we go. That should be it. Yep. Oh, sorry.
What a show.
Well, it says
bye, Nikki.
It's still loading.
I don't like the president. I feel like Joe Biden. Just.
All right, that should be it. All right, good show.
Yeah, it's good.